Welcome to Empowered to Grow, the podcast. I am your host, Hanan Basha, the business doctor. Following our conversations with empowered women who woke up one day and consciously claimed, I am more than enough, I am worthy, I am empowered to grow. And along their empowering journey towards realizing their own potential and their quest for growth, they became a beacon of hope and guidance for others. May you also find your inner power to grow. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Empowered to Grow. This is your host, Hanan Basha. I was just saying, I've the privilege of starting this podcast and having enough grit to keep going on with it is meeting amazing women from around the world that I wouldn't have crossed paths with in my everyday life. And this is another amazing connection that we're having right now. Dr. Laquore Meadows, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so delighted to be here. Thank you.
So Dr. Laquore is co-founder and CEO of Invest to Give. She's also an author. She's a wealth builder. She has a unique journey from poverty to Ph.D. holder. And I was just so intrigued reading your profile. I'm like, we've got to talk. There's so much we can be talking about right now. And also the part that you've managed to explore and kind of, control that elusive area of stock trading. And that is something that was like, okay.
Yes.
Personally, when I hear stock and, I'm like, yep, nope, don't know it, don't want to know about it, but you've managed to also conquer that. So I want to start with empowered to grow. What does that term mean to you? How does it resonate with you?
Well, first, I want to just again say thank you so much for allowing me to come and connect with you and your audience today. I'm absolutely delighted. So I love the term empowered to grow. It gives me a sense of just fortitude, right? I feel as though this is something that I can definitely do first and foremost. It intrigues me. I think that when I think about empowered to grow, especially in the space that I am in, it takes me to a space where I feel like I can encourage anyone, right, to take that first or that next step with really understanding the stock market. So I love it. I love it.
That's great. So your journey, as I was just explaining a minute earlier, is you went from poverty to PhD holder to author of Income on Demand to co-founder of Invest to Give and CEO of a company to stock trader to all of this. Tell us a bit more about where it started and where it's going for you.
Yes, absolutely. So one of the things when I really sat and thought about, okay, so where did this passion for teaching about the stock market come from? Actually, when I was a little girl, I just absolutely loved teaching. I used to line up my teddy bears and pass out papers. I had a big chalkboard and you name it, I was doing it, right? So anything I can do to make sure my teddy bears were smarter, that's kind of where that love and passion for that came from. But my true passion around the stock market came from first a love of education. My grandmother told me when I was young, she said, that's one thing that no one can take away from you is your education. So I decided to, despite my circumstances, pursue as much education I possibly could wholeheartedly. Fast forwarding to the stock market and what really interests me in that space is I had an opportunity to engage with a woman who decided to donate $5.3 million dollars to the organization that I led. And I was so inspired by that gift. First, I was like, if you have $5.3 million to donate to us, like
how much more do you have?
You're doing really well, right?
How much more are you keeping?
Yes. And so I got to get to know her a little bit better and learned in that process that she had accumulated a lot of her wealth in the stock market. Well, I was so inspired by her generosity. I decided, I too want to be able to do that. I want to be able to build and to leave a legacy that I say will someday be the answer to someone's prayers. But I also recognize that my 9 to 5 didn't necessarily offer me the income to be able to do that. So I had to figure out another way. And so once I learned what she did, I started reading everything I possibly could, going back to the education piece, right? Watching YouTube University. I started practicing buying and selling shares of stock and just fell in love with the process. And so, and then I started making money. And my friends were like, can you teach me? Like, you're not leaving me behind. I want to learn how to do this too. And so from there, that's when I decided it was important for me to begin invest to give.
And that's a beautiful concept. I love it because the minute I read it, I'm like, invest to give. And I think the investment, of course, having the financial means, as you said, to be able to answer someone's prayers, but also it starts with the education part. And I think it's the sharing of knowledge. I can invest my time, I can invest my energy, I can invest my knowledge to empower others. So they lead I would say, I don't want to say in more of an empowered life, but a life that lives up to their own expectations.
Absolutely. 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 Yes.
So,
And that's one of the things that is so inspiring to me because I'll just share this really quickly. I attended it was a retreat 2 days ago where it was like a mastermind, if you will, of just 4 women got together and we decided we wanted to really set out a strategic plan for our business.
nice.
And when I was asked, okay, so what is your priority in your business? It goes directly to what you just mentioned. While I love the stock market, what's most important to me is that individuals have the opportunity to truly live in their gifting.
Mhm.
I think there's nothing more wonderful than a person really sitting within and emanating to the world what they've been designed to do, right? Just imagine if everybody was doing what we've been created to do, like there would be no lack in this world. And
Exactly.
so my aim is to remove the barrier of money, right? To help them to get there. So
I love
yes.
that. I love
Mhm.
that. Well,
Thank you.
from where you stand right now, what advice would you have gone back and given your 19-year-old self?
Ooh, that's a great question. So my 19-year-old self, I would tell myself that you are worthy. You're worthy. You're worthy of everything that you desire. You're worthy of being able to take it to that next level despite of who is in front of you.
Mhm.
You're worthy of really using your gifts to change the world. So that's what I would tell myself.
I love that. And you bring up worthiness. And I think I resonate a lot with it, with a lot of women that I've spoken to. It was always for us, it's that foundational work of knowing and trusting our own worthiness. And I think had possibly, I know I speak for myself when I say this, had I been able to appreciate that more at that age, possibly completely different trajectory of my life. Still, I'm happy that I've got the awareness right now, and I'm happy that I'm making better decisions. And now that I know better, I'm doing better, or I'm hoping that I'm doing better. But it is definitely very important at that phase in our life of this, you're growing into a woman, and now what do I want, and where do I believe I could go?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that belief in self, it is just a mindset thing, right? It's about the frame that you put around what is happening in your life. We can look at it in a negative way or we can look at it in a positive way. And I think the important part is to look at it in a way that best serves us. And that's going to be a positive way.
That's true. Okay, the other end of the spectrum then, what would you like your 90-year-old self to thank you for today?
Oh, that's good. I love that. Okay, so I've been really inspired by this 10-year challenge that's been going on Facebook, right? And so I've been like really thinking I need to go ahead and put this post out there. But I want to ask people, okay, so we're looking back. Let's look ahead, right? Let's look ahead. What do we want to accomplish in these next 10 years? And so with that, this question just aligns right with that. I want my 90-year-old self to say, well done. Well done. And thank you for giving yourself a chance. Thank you for giving yourself a chance. I have created an initiative. It's called Stocks and Soars, where I am working very hard to educate as many women as possible, to help them to understand how to take their first or next steps in the stock market. And when I say I was scared to put this out there, I was so nervous. And so, I went through all the stages of, okay, no, okay, maybe, okay, no, okay, maybe. And finally I said yes, to myself. And it's, I think, the best decision I could have ever made. So that's what I would want my 90-year-old self to say is well done. And I'm so happy you said yes to yourself.
I love this. So inspiring. So continuing the inspiration, you're on a stage and you are talking to tens of thousands of women, and it is about being empowered to grow in their own way. What would be that last message you leave them with?
My last message would be belief, right? And so when we think about beliefs, one of the things my mentor taught me is that, and that goes back to the frame we put around things, right? We can look at things as, okay, this is going to serve us, or we can look at things as this is not going to serve us. So that success and that failure. Whether we believe that we're going to be successful, whether we believe we're going to fail, both of that is belief, right? And so my last words to this audience of women would be, sister, believe in the success, okay? Believe in that. Believe in what will serve you, right? Don't put your attention towards the things that are going to serve as a distraction to you accomplishing whatever that thing is that you set out to accomplish. So believe.
Yep. I'm all with you there. And I think it is very important. Not only is about the mindset, and I think that's something that I started speaking of lately, that over the last few years that I didn't stop to think about until I had to literally put a time out in my own life. And that is, what does success mean to me? And I started saying, let's talk about subjective success, not what the checklist, not what society has told us the success looks like. Because, I completed my doctorate degree. I had about 20 plus years of, of corporate experience and private entrepreneurial experience, married, have the son. I did all the things that like check the list. And I stopped and I said, but I'm not happy and I'm not fulfilled.
Yes.
Something is not right. And I realized it was because there was always this, the stick and the carrot. There's always another stick and a carrot that I'm following because I'm being told that that's the next step. That's what I need to do next versus, okay, what does success mean to me? And how do I redefine it? And I realized I had it all. Number one, which was very important for me, was realizing that for the first time in my life, I was prioritizing me and my health and my wellness and my happiness. Number two was that I was working on a daily basis to nurture a loving, understanding relationship with my husband and our son. And number three was I'm sharing my knowledge from the concept of abundance, of that mindset of abundance. So it's my resources, my time, my effort, my money sometimes, and my knowledge, which was very important for me. And then I'm like, okay, so I'm successful. Now what? Now let me redefine and trust the process and see where I could go with this. And I think that is one of the things that I love that you said, that trust and believe in the success, but first define what the success could be and what it could mean for you.
Yes, I love that. That's beautiful. I'm so happy that you went through that process as well.
Yeah,
that's great.
True. I mean, it's as painful and as messy as it is. I think it's like, okay, we have to do this because you realize you really can't move forth without that foundation, without knowing, like kind of at least a general idea and a vision of where am I going with this, instead of just like, okay, let me be all over the place because I've been been told to keep pushing. I've been told to kind of, scatter along the path, but what path? And that kind of brings your life into, then you start assessing, you start looking at a lot of other things in life as, speak of relationships in your career and your finances, and where do you want to go with all of this?
Absolutely. That's good. Good.
So I know we're going to have another uncharted discussion section. So we're going to be going a lot more in depth in some of the things you brought up here, but where can our viewers and listeners find you in virtual space?
Yes, absolutely. So I can be found a number of places on my website, invest2give.com. It's invest2give.com. I can also be found on Instagram at invest2give. And then I am also on Facebook as well. So all those spaces is where I can be easily found.
And that's where they can find your book as well?
Yes, you can find my book on my website.
Okay, great. So there you have it. Invest to give, but more importantly, trust your success, define your success, and understand where is it that you could bring to the world, and how is it that you want to give back. More importantly, how is it you want to give back to yourself first, and how do you share that wealth and that knowledge and everything that you've got. Dr. Laquore, thank you so much. This was insightful on so many levels.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here.
Thank you. Okay, thank you so much for joining us in this episode. And until next time, I'm wishing you a lot of love, abundance, and prosperity. Take care. Thank you for listening to the Empowered to Grow podcast. For further engagement with a tribe of empowered women, join my Facebook group, Empowered to Grow, or visit my website, www.hananulbasha.com. I'll catch you on the next episode. And until then, know that empowered you empowers others. Love, abundance, and prosperity to you all.